My guest today, you guys, is another one of the agents in our coaching program. Got a great story, getting 2 listings a month on a consistent basis. With me today, I've got Michael Curry. Michael, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm excited to jump right into it. So tell us, what market are you in, and how long you've actually been selling real estate now?
Yes, so I'm in the Las Vegas market, and I've been selling real estate for 6 years now.
Got it. Good for you. So I didn't know you were in Vegas, actually. So it's an interesting market. What does that market look like these days?
Gosh, so pretty much like the rest of the US, it's crazy, it's hot. Nice listings are selling fast and getting multiple offers. Just last week, I was showing properties to a buyer, and we went to go submit an offer. They had 30 offers on the table.
Crazy.
So it's crazy. And, since I've been in the business, like the 6 years, it's pretty much been a shortage of inventory, but I have never seen it like this. So
it's crazy. What's the average price where you sell real estate at?
Right now it's about $325.
Okay. So it's good. I mean, your average check then is what, $6,000-$7,000, something like that?
Yes.
Yeah. I love it. All right, cool. So, and when did you and I start working together?
Yes. So I had been following you on YouTube probably for a good 6 months or so. And then I had joined like the entry level program where I had the online access. So I did that probably for about 4 months.
Okay.
And then I moved up to the full program at the beginning of this year. So
got it. All right, cool. Good stuff. So off air, we're talking about you're getting 2 listings per month, pretty much on a consistent basis.
Yes.
And that's not including your buyer business, right? That's just on the listing side.
Right. That's
yeah.
correct.
Cool. So I want to kind of walk people through what you do to generate business. How are you getting these listings? How do you follow up? What your day looks like? So why don't we jump right into talking about the business kind of plan, if you will? What lead sources are you working these days?
Yes. So interestingly enough, so I've been working for sale by owners, for some time. Haven't had like a high level of success, but I would get some here and there. And that was part of the reason that I joined your coaching program, is because I really wanted to take that to the next level. So, as soon as I joined your program, for sale by owners start to dry up.
I know.
So
they'll be back.
Yeah, but interestingly enough, like they're back now. So now I'm getting about anywhere from like 5 to 7 new for sale by owner leads a day. They literally just started coming back as a hot lead source probably in the last couple of weeks. So I just started calling them again. And like right now I'm setting about like 7 to 8 like preview appointments that are going very, very well, like a week. So
per week, you're setting that many per week?
Yeah. Last week I had like 7.
Wow. So it's probably a product of the timing, right? So we're getting into that spring summer market. So yeah, we saw a lull in new listings. FSBOs expires in February and in March, and then April, May, we pick back up. So phenomenal. So you're calling for sale by owners. What else? What other lead sources are you prospecting right now?
So the biggest pillars of my business, number one would be I get 50% of my business from my COI, the people that I know.
Love it.
Referral business. And then the second one is going to come from old expireds and cold calls. So those are the main 3 sources right now.
I love it. That's great. So let's talk about a little bit, how you're working each source of business. And I love that you talked about your center of influence or your sphere of influence. I think too many agents, because you've been in the business 6 years now, a lot of the new agents, they forget about the people that they know, which is a huge mistake. Would you agree?
Oh yeah. And I'm guilty of that too.
We all are. It took me a long time to realize the asset that I had. So before I started to really work that source of business, and it's like the most enjoyable business. It's the most profitable business. It's the easiest business. And yet most people in this business neglect the people that we know. So how are you working your sphere of influence database?
I'll be very honest with you. So I don't have a huge system that I follow to work my COI. And the reason is this, for the last couple of years, like I've known that I was going to change markets. So I plan on leaving Las Vegas relatively soon. So I almost didn't want to rely on that. And I wanted to force myself to be able to find new business. So like I intentionally didn't actively work my database. So I would say my business mostly comes from my database, either from like social media, them seeing that I post a lot and seeing that I'm doing business, and then just some of the random calls, people will think of me. So I wish that I did work them harder, but like I said, I really want to force myself to get really good at finding new business, because when I go to the new market, I won't be able to rely on the people that I know.
That's right. That's exactly right. And that's why I think the things that I teach that work so well, because it doesn't matter if you know anybody or not. It doesn't matter where it is. You can always generate new business. So where are you off to? I'm curious now.
I'm moving to Austin.
Oh, cool.
And yeah. And when I made that decision, I didn't realize that everybody else was moving to Austin. So, now it is what it is. So, but I'm excited about the move.
What's taking you to Austin?
I've been here for 13 years now, and I'm just ready for a change of pace.
Yeah.
I want something different. I'm an expressive, so
yeah. Me too. We got to make sure we don't talk too much.
I know.
Yeah.
So we have to keep things interesting for ourselves. And like I said,
Good for you.
Like I always knew that I wasn't going to stay in Vegas, so now is a good time to actually make that move.
Good for you. That's exciting. So now that makes a lot of sense. So you didn't want to pour too much into building a sphere of influence lead generation system just to pick up and leave them. So that makes sense. Okay, cool. So what is your approach to lead generation? You talked a little bit just a minute ago there, but how are you going about generating leads, generating appointments, and getting new business in the first place?
Yes. So I have a very consistent prospecting schedule. So I prospect daily, anywhere from 2 hours to 3 hours a day. When I first started, it was about like 4 to 5 hours a day.
Wait a minute, you prospect? You're kidding me.
Right.
So you're calling people you don't know.
Yes.
And using your skills that you have. I really want to hopefully showcase those today, because that's why I was so excited to get you on camera. Your skills, I've told you time and time again, are really, really good, and they're just getting better. So you're prospecting a couple hours a day. Is that right?
Yes. So,
and who are you calling first?
So now that we have for sale by owners again, I'm calling the for sale by owners first. And then from there, I'll move on to old expired. And then from there, I'll move on to just some cold calls.
Cool. So calling just listed, just sold, calling around hot neighborhoods.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's always been a really good source for me. Those just listed, just sold calls. It takes a lot more contacts, but at the same time, because sometimes I'll call these expireds and old expireds, and I may only get like 5 contacts an hour because they're just not picking up. And as an expressive, that like does my head in, and I'm like, I need to talk to people. So so I'll switch over to something where I can have more conversations and talk to people. So
well, I was just going to say, the good thing about circle prospecting is, the contact rate's better. There's low to really zero competition. Those listings, you can kind of pick where you want to work. And you're not getting pressed on commissions like you are potentially with expireds and for sale by owners. So if you're willing to make more contacts, you can get really nice listings, circle prospecting, making just listed, just sold calls. I love it.
Yes. And, it's interesting because, I, like most other agents, I didn't love prospecting when I first started. Luckily enough, like I started with a brokerage. It's an MFO brokerage. So that's kind of what
perfect.
they preach there. So I had a really strong foundation in that sense, and with the consistency and then the schedule. But I mean, do you want to hear the story of how I really got sold on prospecting?
Yeah, I would. Now you got to tell us.
So, this was probably, I think, my second year in the business, and I was calling some old expireds, and it happened to be the wrong number. And so I was about to end the call, and I say, well, they knew the seller. It just wasn't the seller. So I asked him, would you happen to know if they're thinking about selling? And then he was like, you know what? They may be. Let me give you their number. So he gave me their number. I called them. I set an appointment with them. I go to this listing appointment. It was for probably like a townhouse. I think it was like 130,000. That's how much it was. And in the Vegas market, that's an older house in a not so great neighborhood. It's not like, a really nice listing or whatever, but I was hungry and I was just like, you know what, I'm going to get this listing. So I go there and I'm meeting with them and they're like, yeah, we actually want to sell more properties than this one. They show me a portfolio of 50 properties that they
Wow.
wanted to sell. So long story short, I walked away from that appointment with 10 listings. 10 listings from just that one.
Amazing. And and it was that one contact that you got through making hundreds of contacts. Yes. And it was only because you made hundreds of contacts that you found this opportunity, which is the point that you said earlier. The consistency is the most important thing. It's not about calling one prospect one time, looking for one listing and then saying prospecting doesn't work.
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And make no mistake, I had so many monkeys in my mind when I went to that appointment. So many, especially as a newer agent, even as we were putting this deal together, this particular client, they didn't speak English. So they had their assistant there to translate. So I almost gave it to another agent in my office that spoke that language, because I'm like, yeah, they're not going to work with me. I don't speak their language. I almost referred it to that agent. And,
wow.
I'm happy that I didn't, because even after that, I got about 8 more listings from them. So it was about 18 properties that I sold altogether. And then, so yeah, that made me a believer. And, after that, I was hitting the phones even harder. And so
I bet it's like working out, starting to see muscle growth. You want to keep going, right? So
exactly.
Why do you think people in our industry, whether they're new realtors or they've been in the business for a while, have such a hard time accepting the fact that we are salespeople first and that we have to prospect daily to give ourselves even a chance to win? Why are they fighting that so bad and thinking they can avoid it altogether?
I think it's a couple reasons. Number one, it's how they glamorize real estate on TV. And, so it attracts a lot of people who think that this business is easy. And so they kind of come in with the wrong expectation. So that's part of the reason. And then there's so many different other people out there that saying, oh yeah, you don't have to work hard. All you have to do, post on social media, all of these shiny objects that make it seem like it's easy. And, so I think people just have the wrong expectation coming into this business. So, once they get in and they see what you really have to do, it really separates the people, the people who really want it versus the people who, want something that's easy.
Yeah, well said. I mean, nothing in life that's worth anything is easy. And I think I agree with you 100% that the media and TV makes this business very sexy and appealing. And it attracts people that are non-salespeople, that they do not come from a direct sales background into the industry thinking it's one thing, just to find out when they get into it, they're like, oh crap, I didn't know this was a direct outbound sales business, which therefore why 90% fail within their first 24 months. It all kind of makes sense. So you get over the fear of prospecting. You're totally bought in. Now you're prospecting consistently. You're getting on average 2 listings per month. So your morning, I would imagine, is focused on new contacts. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And you said you're spending a couple hours doing that. How many new contacts do you try to make every day?
Right now, it's about 25. I really need to push that up a little bit just so I can hit my goals this year.
Yeah.
One of the things that I took away from your program, which has helped me a lot too, is just that follow-up window in the morning. So I make my new contacts, and then around 11 o'clock is when I start doing my follow-up. Because what I was trying to do, I was trying to stick to a schedule where I was supposed to follow up in the afternoon. And for whatever reason, like my afternoon gets away from me, and
That's right.
I end up not doing it, and it costs me so much money.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, if we can keep all of our like most productive activities before noon, we're just well better off, because if we can win the morning, we win the day. And if we can just do everything before noon, then we can go back to being realtors in the afternoon and doing whatever we need to do, paperwork, follow-up, showings, inspections, all the crap that takes us away from being productive. We can let the afternoon do that. But if we can get everything done before noon, our productivity really, really shoots through the moon. So you're now spending that morning making 25 new contacts. Then you're following up with the leads that you've generated. And then do you keep your afternoons then for listing appointments?
Yeah, listing appointments, and then to handle all of that other business stuff, inspections and returning phone calls and preview appointments.
Love it. I love it. So you are, let's talk about skills for a second, right? Because I believe, and I go back to the success triangle that I talk about all the time. The 3 things needed to succeed in this business is mindset, skills, and action. Mindset, skills, action. So we kind of just talked about the action that you're taking every day. Let's talk about the skills for a second. I think another big reason why agents avoid prospecting or making the calls or knocking the doors like they should is they don't know what to say and they don't know how to say it. And so they've never been properly trained as a salesperson. So what are you finding that's working really well as you're making your calls that allows you to set as many appointments as you're setting?
So I would definitely say the skill practice and working on the scripts, working on how to connect with people, on a human level. So knowing when to break from the script and, connect with someone. And definitely, I would say the confidence. And I think that was kind of like the biggest shift for me. That was like a breakthrough from, being like a newer agent to actually setting more appointments, was just like the confidence and the delivery and the tone on the phone, the pacing. A lot of times when you're making prospecting calls, and sometimes I still go through this, you're like, these people don't want to talk to me. I'm interrupting someone and blah, blah, blah. So it kind of forces you to, if you have that in your head, you'll actually speed up your script. And, you'll talk too fast, and that doesn't necessarily show a lot of confidence. So what I've changed probably the last year or so is actually like slowing it down and, having in my mind what I have to say is very important. And with that mindset, it comes across to the prospect, and I get way less hangups, even though I'm going slower. And, I get through my script and have a productive conversation.
Yeah, because you're coming across a lot more clear, a lot more concise, with more confidence, more conviction, which then on the other side, this is what I always tell everybody, prospects respond to the way we communicate. Prospects aren't rude unless we are not good at communicating, right? We get hung up on because we suck at communicating. That's why that happens. And so as you've grown your skills, that's happened less and less, and you're having more higher quality conversations. Here's the interesting thing, and I didn't even set you up for this, but for all of you watching this, LaMichael, when I asked him, hey, when it comes to skills, what allows you to set more appointments? What he did not say was the words. You didn't once say it was the words. It was all about the how, tonality, rate of speech, how confident you were, how clear you were, all of the things that make up for communication, but it was not the words. Agents are obsessed with what's the script? What's the script? What's the magic script, Brandon? Would you agree that the words are essentially meaningless without everything else you just talked about?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Because here's the thing. It's so funny, man. I even have agents in our program that say, Brandon, what if another agent in my company is in your program too? Does that mean we both can succeed? And I say, well, I laugh every time because I'm like, absolutely. Because here's the reality. If you and I were to call 10 prospects, the same 10 prospects with the same exact script, it would sound completely different. And the people listening wouldn't even know we had the same script. That's how different it is. But non-salespeople get so obsessed about words and they forget that 55% of all communication is body language, right?
Right.
And tonality and how we deliver the words that matters so much more than the actual what we're saying. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. As long as you're coming across like confident and you know what you're talking about,
That's it.
That's it.
You can really say anything, quite frankly. I mean, if you have high skills, which we're talking about, it's not the words. When we say skills, ladies and gentlemen, we're not talking about words. But if you're good at delivering information, you're good at listening, you're good at asking good open-ended questions, and you have confidence and conviction, people will be inspired to meet with you. So let's talk about the appointment for a second, and then I want to talk about follow-up.
Okay.
So when you set an appointment, whether that be a preview appointment or a listing appointment, what is the mindset that you have when you're meeting with somebody you've never met with before?
So the first thing is, how can I help this person? So that's the first mindset. And then the second thing is that I'm the right agent for the job. So
I love it.
And then the next thing is like, I have to go there with my A game and, show them that I'm enthusiastic to work with them and I have what it takes to get their listing sold and that I'm the right person for the job. So,
and all right, so let's talk about those three things because here's another area, LaMichael, where I think realtors are like, well, what do I say? What do I show them to show them that I'm the right agent for the job? The position that I take is going back to what we just talked about. It is not about what you say. It's about how we deliver all of the information. Right. It's our ability to articulate the marketplace that positions us as the expert. It's our ability to position the process of selling a home that positions us as the expert. But so many agents want me to tell them, oh, you just pull out this little magic trick. Watch, you just pull this little thing out, you show them this little piece of paper, and then they sign the contract. Right. It doesn't happen that way. There is no magic. You have to go there and be an expert communicator, an expert salesperson who can show people you care and show people that you know what you're doing and deliver that in a way where the person's like, you're the obvious choice. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. And I think something that's helped me too, I forget where I got this from, but when I meet with people, I have this nice balance of enthusiasm. And
have to.
And then it's balanced out with this kind of like non-attached, so it doesn't come across like, I need your listing. I'm enthusiastic to work with you, and I'll do whatever it takes to like earn your business. But, either we work together or we don't. Either we're a good fit or we don't. And, and I feel like that's been very attractive to people because they don't think that, I'm just another salesperson that, just want to get another listing.
Oh, beautifully said. I just met with my editor. I'm almost done with my book, Reverse Selling. And we just talked about that chapter right there. What you just said, when you can detach from the outcome and the prospect can feel that you don't care whether or not you get their listing, that's the very moment you get the listing. It's when these new agents go in there begging and become, with the commission breath and they sound salesy and they sound needy. That repels prospects. Yes. Prospects want to work with a real professional, with a real expert. And that is very, very appealing. It's very attractive, to your point, using your words, for somebody to work with you when you're like, dude, I don't need the business. If we end up working together, I love to earn it and I'm going to do a hell of a job for you. But if you don't, I'm fine. I'm still going to have a steak dinner tonight. It's no problem. Right.
Exactly. And backing up to that story that I told you, even though I was a new agent and I was hungry when that seller had put like 50 listings in front of me, 50 properties that they wanted to sell. I looked at it, and I was like, okay. And then, my approach was like, I do this every single day. you know,
Yeah,
even though
that's
I know
exactly
that,
right.
even though I know that I needed that business right at that moment, like I didn't let that come across like that, you
You
know?
can't. You
Yeah,
can never let a seller know your cards. You can never show that excitement. That's where we came up with sayings like, don't be the little boy on prom night. That's what that means, right? It's like,
right,
keep your composure, act as if you've been here before, right?
right, exactly.
This
And
is normal.
and I think the assertiveness comes into in your follow-up approach, you know,
Yeah.
and you know, that's how they know that you really want to work with them.
All
You know?
right. So that's a perfect transition. What I always tell people is follow up is the beginning of the interview process. This is where people really get to experience what it's like to work with you before they've agreed to work with you. So tell us about follow up, your approach to follow up, and kind of your mindset when you go to be following up with hot seller leads.
Yes. So, you know, I'll be honest with you. My follow-up system hasn't been perfect.
Sure.
But you know, I do it. You know,
Yeah.
I do it. And as long as I do it right 70% of the time, then you know, I'll get business from it. So but my approach to follow up, and this has definitely gotten better since I've joined your program, is to approach follow up with value. You know,
Yeah.
there's so many other coaches out there that, you know, their version of follow up is, okay, do you still need to buy or sell a home? Can we set an appointment today? You
Yeah.
know, how many times can you say that?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Before it gets old? And we know that with most prospects, sometimes you may have to make anywhere from like 5, 7, 10 touches before
Exactly.
they're comfortable to do business with you. So my approach is to provide value and to do it consistently.
I love it. I love it. Well, let me ask you this. How much of your business comes through follow up versus the first meeting? I'm always curious about this. If you had to guess.
I would say about 80% of my business come from the follow up.
That's right.
So
Yeah, I mean that's why I've put such a heavy emphasis in my business and in what I teach and coach into follow up, because every time I ask that question, it's always about the same. It's always about, 70 to 90% of the contracts we get signed come through follow up, not from the initial contact. And
right.
that's why it shocks me that a lot of trainers and coaches downplay follow up so much when so much of our business comes through that channel. I mean, you could make the argument that follow up is as important as lead generation.
Yeah, I agree.
You know,
100%. Yeah.
I mean, I even go so far, and we can move on to something else. I go as far as sometimes to tell an agent, if you don't follow up, you might as well not even call in the first place. It's that important.
It's so true because, like, let me tell you, I did this thing last year, and I had like a stack of papers from, you know, not having an efficient follow-up system. And these are
Yeah,
people who I had good conversations with. And, you know, the low-hanging fruit, if you tell me you're ready to move in 30 to 60 days, I am all over you.
absolutely.
But if you tell me that you're moving in like 6 months to 7 months, that's where like it was a big hole in my business.
Yeah.
So I went back. I was like, okay, let me you know, call these people and see what happened. It probably was like a list of about like 50 people that, you know, I had failed to follow up with properly. And when I tell you, like, it was so many people that said they had sold and bought already. It had to
Oh,
be about like, you know, like $4 million worth of sales just from that. Do you understand like how
it's
much that hurt?
crazy.
It
I
hurts
know.
so bad.
That happened to me too, and it's like, wow, I already did the work to generate the lead. And then I just, because of me and my lack of systems and my lack of follow up, I just lost 100 grand.
Yep.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Sometimes things like that have to happen for us to value things in life, I think, is
Right.
we have to experience loss for us to value the thing that we lost,
Absolutely.
It's interesting. All right, cool. So if you could rewind the clocks and go back and start real estate all over again, regardless of what market you were in, what would you like? What would be the coaching or the advice you would give LaMichael Curry 6 years ago as a brand new realtor?
The advice that I would give would be one, find a coach and a mentor. And then the most important part is to actually do what they say and to believe. Because even though like I started off with the coach, probably I think I got a coach maybe about like 9 months into the business. I didn't necessarily do it and follow it 100%.
Yeah.
And, after, as an expressive, I'm always chasing like the shiny object.
Sure.
But afterwards, I always come right back to the fundamentals. And it's just like, wow, well, this was the first thing that I heard. So, if I had just followed it then, I would be fine. So I would say, follow the advice, stop trying to fight the system, and to just work with it, because you'll produce a lot and make a lot of money.
Oh, that's so interesting you say that. I mean, it's like surrendering to the coach that's already walked before you, and stop fighting it to go, well, that's not going to work because of this. Let me go try this other thing. Let me try this other thing. Always coming back to the fundamentals of the business that have been time proven over and over again, and just surrendering to the fact that we must prospect and generate new business first before anything else. That is the only way. And we've got to block out the noise, block out the distractions, block out the shiny objects, and literally not listen to the people that tell us otherwise.
Right.
Period.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, and I would piggyback that and say, like, the truth of the matter is that most of it works,
Yeah.
most of it works. If you have a strong system behind it, and, you just have to be consistent with it. So the key word is consistency. So it's just picking, maybe three or four pillars of your business, having a strong system behind it, and executing it on a high level.
Yeah, well said. Because everything works. Everything works. But agents will watch interviews like this and then go try something you mentioned, like for a week, it not work, and be like, what was that guy talking about? Next. It's like agents constantly want to compare their chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 10. They want to send, direct mail out to 100 homes once. And if they don't get a listing, they say direct mail doesn't work. They want to prospect and call FSBOs for one day. And if they don't get a listing, they say FSBOs don't work. Everything works if you can be consistent with it. So last question for you. What is the goal for 2021?
Yes. Excuse me. So my goal for 2021 is to do 250,000. So that'll be around like 32 sales.
I love it. And then when are you planning on making the big move to Austin?
It'll be by the end of the year.
Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. So you're going to finish up in Vegas, get to your $250,000. That's in GCI, or is that an income?
That'll be GCI.
Cool, man. That's amazing. So I love it, man. Thank you so much for doing this. If people want to connect with you on social media, where can they find you these days? Instagram, Facebook?
Yes. Yeah, definitely Instagram and Facebook. So I would say I'm probably more active on Facebook. Just type in my name, LaMichael Curry.
Awesome. And if new agents are watching this and they want to mastermind, they want to ask you questions, is it okay if they reach out to you?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm an open book, and I love to help. So, and I want to say thank you to you, because I appreciate everything that you do for us, and everything that you're sharing with us. And, all of those things like are definitely helping me take my business to the next level. Even after, 6 years of being in it, like, I'm like, wow, I wish I would have known this, beforehand, so I appreciate you so much for that.
Oh, no worries, man. And thank you for that. I mean, I just really, and I've told you this before, I really enjoy working with you. I think you've got a great mindset. You got a great attitude. You got great skills. You can do amazing things in this industry. And I know you will, because it's a never ending process, right? We're always getting better. So right back to you. I feel great working with you, and I'm sure you and I can do this again in a year from now when you're in Austin. It'll be cool to kind of track that journey as you start in a brand new market, not knowing anyone, and how you're going to build your business. That's going to be very exciting. And so we'll have to pay attention to that. But thank you so much for doing this, man. And I'm sure we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
You too.